not quite big enough yet. Hang on. I'm going to keep playing with it. It's going to get bigger. This tripod has a different kind of phone holder than what we've been using before. Alright, so there we go. Wow, this is getting convoluted. Okay, so that goes that way. Now, we can fit this one in this way. Tighten that down. You're about to have all my hands out of the way. We'll have all three of the phones going at once. There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way that I'm going to be doing this. For now, while we learn more and more methods to do things. And don't worry, the wife is on her way. She'll be arriving shortly. 7:22 p.m. in Jim Thorne, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Denise. Welcome in. Okay. Oh. Almost got all the equipment plugged in. There we go. Yes, a ceiling fan permit. It's something that apparently in my city you're supposed to have, according to them. Although if you call them now and ask about it, they seem to say differently. So was that just for me? That's what it seems like, doesn't it? Stacy, thank you so much. We really appreciate y'all's support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome in, New Zealand. Ah, New Zealand Vampire. I've seen that movie. What We Do in the Shadows, right? So for those of you who don't know, we'll be performing magic. Every 50,000 likes on the TikTok gives us magic and illusions. So if you've never joined me for a vampire story reading, we try to make it as entertaining as possible for you. Hello, UK. Listen to me and check into StreamYard or OBS. Okay, I'll have to look into those. They may be good methods, but for now, this is how we're doing it. I'll have time to look at some more ways. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Shane. I'm a landlord, and tonight is our vampire story night. So we read classic vampire novels. Tonight we're going to be reading Varney the Vampire. This is from the 1840s. It is 50 years older than Dracula. Every 50,000 hearts I get up here on TikTok is going to get you a magic trick, an illusion of some kind, because I enjoy mystifying and surprising you. So the wife will be joining us here in just a few minutes. It is the privilege of a beautiful lady to keep us all waiting anxiously for her arrival. And just so you can tell, like, I'm not doing anything too weird here. Aw, thank you so much for the stars. Sherry, that really helps us out a lot. The heart me's help, the stars, all of those things, they make a huge difference in how we can reach more people on these platforms. You like the skull. One of these days, maybe I'll do some illusions with the skull. Let's see, some of the platforms can see it, some of them can't. This is salt water. Thank you. Well, thank you, Chris. I'm going to keep making videos. I'm going to keep reaching out to people, and I am working on trying to become a better content creator. I literally hired an agent last week, and the agent is going to be helping me to reach out to some brands. And as I said to some of those folks that were live with me earlier, just because I have a brand sponsorship doesn't change who I am, but I am trying to get some sponsorships so I can get enough money to justify spending more time making content. I have to keep working on houses. I have to keep doing a lot of time that I have to do to maintain my business, whereas if I could increase my social media income maybe another $10,000 a month, which is doable with our audience, then I would be able to step back from that, hire a little bit more of that out, and then I could spend more time making videos for you. Salt water has electrolytes is why I'm drinking salt water. Hi Canada. Hello New Zealand. What does 500,000 hearts get? That gets you 10 magic tricks, because 50,000 per magic trick. The most we've ever gotten is to 420,000, I believe. Thank you so much for the stars, Mary. That's amazing. That's so helpful. Your maiden name is Varney, just like our vampire. Hello, Seal. Am I the end-level slumlord? Yes, when you've fought through all the other slumlords, you find me as the final slumlord boss, waiting. Thank you, Sherry. Hello, Adonis. Ruska. Did I say that even remotely right, Taz? Pamela, I love that you love my videos. Do we go to New Orleans, Louisiana for the Anne Rice celebration? We've been trying to consider if we could make it down this Halloween or not. But trying to spend the time right now when I have several houses that are vacant and put the money into that when I could be putting the money into other things.
And $700 per ticket.
Yeah, and it's $700 per ticket, which is a little bit spendy, you know, for both of us to go. That's like $1,400 before taxes. That's kind of an expensive event, but we do. I wouldn't mind going. It's just a matter of making the logistics work. We're going to be reading Varney the Vampire. It's a classic vampire story from the 1840s. This predates Dracula by 50 years. So this book is 50 years older than Dracula. It has been amazing, and we've enjoyed reading it to you very much. Varney has been my new favorite vampire. I had never read any of his stuff or knew anything about him, and I'm amazed we don't have a Varney the Vampire movie because, I mean, he's just incredible. We do like New Orleans, and it's been about 3 years since I've been down that way, and I'm kind of itching to go back to New Orleans. You enjoyed the pentagram video with the inspectors. I'm glad. Oh, my nose is itching. Why is it so itchy suddenly? Oh, I know why. I have a new tenant, and I was working on her house earlier, and she has a cat. I am very allergic to cats. Did I end up buying the Airbnb that I looked at this weekend? So if you saw my video about a free house, that's what I was working on. Thank you, Adonis. Thank you so much. So the house we were trying to get with no money down and no credit checks, we can do it. We have the deal. We're trying to figure out if the numbers make sense for us to do as an Airbnb. If they don't, then I will be willing to sell this house to one of you guys with no credit checks or anything else. So if somebody wants to buy that 2-bedroom house that was incredibly adorable, you know, if for whatever reason we can't do it, I'm going to come up with a way that one of you guys can get it, because I think it's beautiful, and if it doesn't work for me to make money, I hope it could work for one of you to be able to have a great way to live. So that would be an incredible story still. And we would be helping her because she needs to move to Malaysia, and the way the house is, she's not going to be able to sell it easily. It would be a pain, and she would end up losing money selling it. So that's where us taking that over from her actually saves her money and makes it better for her. Is this the real page you're following from New Zealand? Yes, and you can tell it's the real me because I'm live right now. So I do have the imposter page on the Facebook platform, and I would appreciate all of you please sharing with that platform to those people that they need to come follow me in the real place. Because 133,000 followers are following somebody speaking with my face and my name that isn't me. And that just feels strange to me, especially when I see them responding to comments and stuff. It's weird. You love the video of us working on the floor and inspired us to work on our 100-year-old home that we sprucing up to rent. This will be our first rental property. Well, congratulations, Trisha. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you so much for the stars. Those help me greatly. And haven't noticed any TikTok. Have you tried reporting it? Yes, we have tried reporting it. I'm blue verified on TikTok and everything else, but still, TikTok or the FB platform, the Book of the Faces, is not quick to remove a page with 133,000 followers. They like the money they make off of all those views, so that's part of where the problem comes from. So the more of you that follow me on the correct one, the less power they will have, and the more likely they will be to switch me over. Thank you, Scotland. I went to a Burns dinner a couple years ago with a guy that had relocated from Scotland to our area, and it was his very first Burns dinner in the United States, and he was super skeptical, but he sat at the table with us, and it was our local fire department that put it together, and they read the poems, and they had the haggis, and they had made the haggis the right way, and not as good as he said, but it was still pretty good and made the right way, which is hard to do in America because you can't sell that parts of the animals. But it was a delightful time. As always, for those of you who've never joined me before, during our vampire story reading, my wife and I are going to be reading Varney the Vampire. It's from the 1840s. We'll be starting here in about 25 minutes. We'll do a recap so everybody can be a part of that, but the whole night that we're reading to you, every 50,000 hearts we get on TikTok, I will perform some illusions for you. So those of you on my TikTok audience right now, we've got 250 people hanging out. You don't have to tap very much, and I will do some magic for you so that we can all be entertained. Thank you so much, Troy. What's up with the guy that's breaking into all of my Airbnbs? Is that staged? So this is a gentleman from our area that's needed some work, and several people had tagged me in his videos to help him, and he'd reached out to me looking for work and looking for jobs of various kinds. I, at the same time, don't have enough time to upload all of my videos to all the different platforms and to do all the different things it takes to be the best social media host possible. This guy has lots of time and needs to be able to make some money, so we worked out a deal where he's helping me with publishing content, and in return I'm going to help him to be able to make a living for his family and help him to build a future. So it's an opportunity to be mutual beneficial, and part of that involves him being at my Airbnbs and filming and stuff like that for his own personal page. He's really just trying to get views because his only way of feeding his family is off of his social media money. He is legally blind. He's very, very visually impaired, and it limits a lot of his job opportunities, but he's done very good, and he's been helping me a lot. No answer. That must be a yes. What is the question? Let me go back to the question. I don't know what the question is. Sometimes the questions get filtered depending on the way it's worded. You have a crush on me and the wife. How scandalous, Darby. Darby is a famous general from our area. Served in World War II. A legitimate badass. If you talk to somebody that's in the Army, he's like the Jesus for Army guys. But he grew up about 4 or 5 blocks over this way. Hi, Tina. Do you love shopping vintage? I love shopping vintage, especially like 70s disco shirts. Those are one of my things. I am drinking salt water, so this is water with salt mixed into it. I'm a carnivore. I don't eat any plants, and the salt helps to provide me all the electrolytes I need. So I get my potassium and my magnesium and the sodium that most of you would get from plants. I get it from salt in my water. It's been 2 years and 4 months since I've eaten a vegetable or a plant. 2 years and 4 months. She is beautiful, Susan, and she inspires me in so many ways, and I'm glad that she can inspire some of you. No, the salt in the water does not dehydrate you. In fact, most of you, when you are dehydrated, you drink salt water yourselves. You drink things like Gatorade or Powerade or Pedialyte, those are very common. That's just salt water. They just sweeten it so much you don't taste the salt. Because veggies are bad for you is why I don't eat veggies. I wish I had never eaten veggies. I feel much better without any veggies or plants in my life. How are veggies bad for you? How are they good for you? Tell me how they're good for you. I use Celtic salt sometimes. I also use Redmond's real salt. I use Baja Gold. We've used several different salts. Curious what's bad about vegetables. So vegetables do not want to be eaten. Okay, they don't want to be eaten. Vegetables want to live. They want to exist. And vegetables produce things that are made to harm the insects that try to eat the vegetables. Those things include oxalate crystals, they include lectins, they include many compounds that are just inside the plant actively. And when you eat humongous amounts of plants, those things build up in your system over time and they cause you harm. Sugar is particularly the worst and the one that most of you guys eat way too much of. But the lectins, the oxalates, those things are tied to lots and lots of problems. I can get 100% of the nutrition I need from animals, so why would I need to eat any plants? Animals deserve to live, and animals have a fighting chance. They could run away, they could jump the fence, they have natural defenses. Plants are stuck in the ground, so they're the ones that produce the toxins within themselves. There are some animals that do that as well, but we don't usually eat those animals because they're bad for us. Do I ever post any of my rentals that are available on here? Are they listed on the marketplace? Sometimes, yes, I will list rentals on marketplace when I have some available, which right now I just leased my last available, but we're working on 2 more houses, so we'll have one up hopefully in a couple of weeks. We're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Those go really fast. So no rice, no corn, no sugars, no plants of any kind. Oh wow, Mary, thank you so much. I sincerely thank you so much. How did I first start getting into renting out houses? That's a great question. So my wife is very intelligent and she's very good. About 8 years ago, we were running a business and we had free time from time to time and we would go on vacation. It was starting to become successful just over the last 2 or 3 years. Not wildly successful, but enough that we could actually go on vacation and stuff occasionally. It was the first time in my life I'd had money to be able to do things like that. I grew up as poor as it's possible to be. But one day she was listening to a podcast about wealth building and they talked about a board game called Cash Flow. Cash Flow is a game made by Robert Kiyosaki. It's actually in my TikTok showcase for those of you on TikTok if you're interested. She bought it for $80. I came home. She has this game and she says, Shane, we need to play this game. I heard about it on a podcast. It's going to teach us how to handle money. And I said, no way. There's no way that some board game is going to teach us how to make money. And she's like, yeah, how much did you spend on this? $80. I remember like complaining, like, seriously, $80 for this? This is such a waste of money. I was wrong. I was completely wrong and she was completely right. We played the game one time. I didn't even make it all the way through the game before I was already totally sold on real estate investing. I went from 0 chance of me ever doing real estate investing to I cannot wait to real estate invest within one time playing through the game. It taught me how to figure out deals cash flow wise, how much money I would make off of them. It taught me the idea of how to use bank lending to basically unlock infinite money because I didn't have money. But the bank would give you money on houses in order to buy more houses. So I learned all of those things from this board game. It's the best $80 we ever spent. And if I tell people will be like, it's $80, that's too much to spend. I would have paid $10,000 in hindsight for this game. In retrospect, it changed my life that much and it would be worth every penny. The game is called Cash Flow. It's made by Robert Kiyosaki. You can find it on my TikTok showcase if you're one of my followers there. Thank you so much for the teddy bear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Ruby. Did I always know how to fix things? Nobody always knows how to fix things. So instead, you have to be willing to do something you don't know how to do. So I guess I'm just going to pick on some people here for just a minute. Education. We push our kids to make A's. Our parents pushed us to make good grades. I remember getting grounded and yelled at and screamed at and everything else. You got to make A's. You got to make A's. It didn't work on me. I made D's all the way through school. Never made an A unless the teacher wouldn't grade any homework, because I would never do any homework. But didn't matter. Most of you learned that you don't get in trouble when you make A's. Making A's is good. It's what your parents want. And the parents feel like they're instilling hard work ethic in their kids. They think they're teaching their kids to work hard. And they might get a little bit of that. But there's something you accidentally instill in a child when you punish them for not making A's or B's, and when you get after them for doing badly. And that is, you don't need to do something you don't know how to do. That becomes the unintended lesson. If you don't know how to do it, then don't do it. You may mess up, and then you're going to get in trouble. Right? Does that make sense? You accidentally teach your children, your parents accidentally taught that to you, and so many people are afraid to do something around their house because they might mess it up. They might not know how to do it. I don't know how to do anything all the time. I've got a water heater right now that one of my tenants, the water heater went out, the burner on it, and it's a gas burner. I've never changed the gas burner in a water heater, so what do? I look up the model number, I look up how to replace it, I watch a video, like, oh, that's easy to replace. Rather than buying a whole water heater, I'll buy a $100 replacement part, and they'll have years more of this water heater, and I'll figure it out. And I may fail, like I may mess it up on the install, and I may still end up having to get another water heater. That can totally happen. You have to be okay with failure in life if you want to be able to learn how to do things. I do trade the market. I have 100% of my non-real estate investments in a stock called LODE, L-O-D-E, which is Comstock Inc., and I highly recommend the company. How did my wife and I meet? So she was dating my roommate. Do I have any properties for rent in Texas? Not currently, but I do have a property I'm looking to buy near Houston right now. It'd be, I guess, closer to Beaumont. I said Houston for the national audience, but closer to Beaumont. It's about 45 minutes from Beaumont, 30 minutes from Beaumont, something like that. Hello, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining me. This is salt water. It's delightful. It's near a lake, but it's not Sour Lake. I can't remember what the name of the lake is. I did not steal my roommate's girl. They were broken up before I took her.
It's true.
Here she comes now. Oh, darling, you look so lovely.
Good evening.
Welcome in. Everyone's been asking about you.
You've been asking about me?
Mhm.
Oh, well, hello. I'm wearing my haori. This is a haori. And see? It has the red spider lilies on it.
Those are a symbol of unlife.
Mm-hmm. Or the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
As butterflies can be seen as a psychopomp.
You're having a hard time hearing me. Is anybody else on this platform having a hard time hearing me? Hey, Terry, welcome in.
Is the mic working?
The mic is working fine. This is a different one. So we only have the mic plugged into one of the channels. We can't plug it into all of them at the same time.
We need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about how to figure out how to do that. But right now, this is the first time we're streaming on all 3 of the major platforms that people follow us on. We've usually only been able to do 2, so that's at least
wonderful.
a step in the right direction.
Hi, everybody. Super cool.
Hello, little cowboy. Have you ever thought about making ASMR content?
Yes, I have.
She has, but you're not named Shane. It says, hi, Shane, have you ever? Not, hi, Niffer, have you ever? It was Shane. No, I've never really thought about making ASMR content. A lot of that I feel like is rhythmic, and I do not have rhythm.
Oh, the sound of a hamburger patty cooking in a skillet.
Do I remember our first date? We never dated. We just got engaged. I mean, the first place we went together that we really spent much time together with was when we went on a music festival. But we weren't even engaged. We weren't even interested in each other. We just went to this music festival together, and by the end of it, things had changed, I guess. So I guess arguably it was a big music festival in the cornfields of Illinois.
Bushnell, Illinois.
Any update on the Halloween costume? We do not have an update on the Halloween costume yet. You guys have given us a lot of ideas. There seems to be a lot that want to push for Gomez and Morticia, which seems a little too close to the normal for us.
Well, that's pretty popular right now.
Yeah,
since there was another season
I
of
literally am
Wednesday.
looking at 2 striped suits of mine right there, and I know you have at least 2 to 3 dresses that would work for Morticia, so I don't feel like that's much of a stretch from our normal. I'd like to do something a little bit more different. Maybe I'll wear like a polo shirt and get a clipboard and pretend to be a city inspector or something, get a City of Fort Smith emblem.
Would you like to take a survey?
Repo, the Genetic Opera. We just watched that a couple days ago.
Repo Man. He doesn't look Repo Man-y enough to me.
No, I'm not the Repo Man.
You've missed us. Well, I'm so glad you're here.
No rhythm, Shane. Niffer, this person seems to think you would disagree with me having no rhythm. Do you disagree with me having no rhythm?
No.
I have no rhythm. Is that correct?
That is correct. He has no rhythm.
Like 0, right?
0.
How bad is it?
I help.
She helps to give me the rhythm that I need.
Dance class is pretty hilarious when we go. I'll try to tap his arm.
You came over to the YouTube from the TikTok because it was more chill over here.
Yay! You said the words you're not supposed to say.
It's okay. I'm going to say all kinds of words I'm not supposed to say. I think everyone will still appreciate us. Keep in mind, every 50,000 taps on the TikTok platform gives us a magical illusion. So make sure to tap, 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 and we will reward you by doing some magic.
The Phantom of the Opera. Oh, could I be Christine? Could I truly be Christine?
Sing for me.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Sing! No way we could do that.
I think it would get sour if I went higher. Thank you.
You're watching from Beaumont, Texas. We were just down your way not too long ago. We didn't get all the way into Beaumont, but we were very close to that.
I don't do it. Yeah, if you have perfect pitch, I am sorry.
No.
So sorry.
You're kind of interested in starting another channel to try and teach financial literacy, teach basics of optimal stock trading, any advice on how to find the audience. So
steal them from Graham.
Steal them from someone else. That's my wife's advice. My advice would be yourself. Like, we are just us. Like, this is her singing Phantom of the Opera while me telling her to sing. If you guys were not on camera, that is an exact kind of thing that would happen for us on a normal evening anyway. That's nothing out of the ordinary. Me doing some magic tricks and practicing some stuff, that's exactly the kind of thing we would be doing if we weren't talking to you here. When I first started social media, I would try to figure out how do I be the cool thing that everybody would want to see. And you just got to forget about all that. Just be yourself.
I kind of want to take opera lessons.
Oh, yeah?
I think I could do it.
Well,
There's another famous opera lady that started when she was in her 40s.
So how do you take opera lessons in Fort Smith, Arkansas? Is there an opera singer in Fort Smith, Arkansas?
I don't actually know.
Are there any opera singers in our audience that would love to train my wife?
Opera singers, you know.
Right. Well, I would assume you'd have to be an opera singer to teach it, but I guess in theory, you could just be some kind of vocal teacher that might be able to do it as well. Hey, Raven, welcome in.
How many kids do we have? We have 2 grown adults.
Yes, they're no longer kids. Stephanie, welcome in. I'm glad you're actually getting to join us while we are live. And thank you for the heart me's, the stars. Thank you for all of that support. It helps us so much.
No opera down in the South. I don't think that's true. I have a relative that lives in Texas. I think it's San Antonio.
Right?
Could be Dallas area, Houston, one of the big cities. And she actually is a stage performer, operatic lady.
Yep. She sings amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
if you've watched the movie Carrie, then you've seen her.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We also have in the South you'd have what, the Grand Ole Opry? Isn't that a Southern thing?
Yeah, the Grand Ole Opry. That's in Nashville. They sang with a bit of a twang.
Make sure I got all the phones silenced so then notifications don't continue.
We are reading tonight, yes, at 7.
We start
7
reading
Central.
in 5 minutes.
5 more minutes.
Hello, Baltimore. How long have you been flipping houses? You have some amazing houses. We started flipping them for money about 8 or 9 years ago. I'm going to give you guys a special sneak idea of something that's coming up for us this week, though. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I'm not sure exactly which day it's going to happen. But I'm going to take you to the first house that I remodeled.
Ooh.
It's about to go for sale again. This house, when I finished it, became the top 5 most viewed homes in the United States. The top 5 most viewed homes in the United States when it sold that year. That includes football player houses, movie star houses. That includes houses in Southern California and San Francisco and mansions and all that stuff. And this house was just in the little town of Van Buren, Arkansas, 25,000 people. And it was the top 5 most viewed houses in the country. And I'm going to get to do a walkthrough on it because it's about to be available for sale again. And I get to show you some of the things, and I'll get to see how my remodel on this house has lasted. It's been over 10 years since we redid this house.
Thank you, Amber, for the stars.
But it's got some fun surprises.
And yes, you are not the only person to suggest that we be Ozzy and Harriet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Sharon.
Yeah, that's what you meant. All's Blondes. Hello, Richmond, Virginia. Welcome in.
You're obsessed with us? Oh, thank you. And
worse...
you're from London. Oh, how wonderful.
There are worse things to be obsessed with than us. I feel like we're generally good for your health and good for your heart. Does anyone know the opera singer who was a witch? Maybe they said she could get any man with just her voice. She was beautiful, too. I do not know this opera singer.
I'll have to Google her later.
Yep. Hello, Princeton, West Virginia. Welcome in. Yes, I am over there. You need to make sure to look for Shane is Great. That's how you find me on all social media. SHAYNE is great. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. We're trying to grow all of them so that it can help us to get some more brand sponsorships and other things, because as we increase the income we make off of social media, we can create more content because we can put more time into it. Right now, most of my time has to be spent making money.
You guys can find me on the Snappity Chappity too.
Yep. And I will start posting on that one over the near future as well.
I'm learning it.
Yep.
Hello, Nova Scotia.
You find us very relaxing, Amber. Well, I'm glad. We could do Interview with the Vampire for Halloween costumes. That doesn't feel like that would be a costume. That would just be our normal day-to-day wear.
Isn't that the name of your podcast?
No. The podcast name will be different than that.
Oh, okay.
Something like that, yeah.
He's going to do a podcast at some point.
I've been paying for all the software and everything to be able to do it for the better part of a year. Eventually I will actually take the time to start a podcast. Again, your stars, your heart me's, all those things, those do help us a lot to be able to get to the point of being able to make that happen.
And maybe get to do some of the things that you wanted to show on our channel instead of just our have-tos.
Yeah, because most of what I'm doing is have-tos, and when people ask for specific content, I want to create it, but I do not have the time to always create it.
I think it would be fun if we owned a house just for the projects that you guys are asking for.
Right.
So if you ask, well, can you do a countertop? We can set up a space and do a countertop. If you guys want him to do, a bathroom remodel.
How is Kaylee? I don't understand about Kaylee. I don't know what you mean.
The party? A Scottish party? That'd be fun.
The Kaylee, yeah, the Scottish Renaissance style party. We would make a great Morticia and Gomez Adams. The problem with that is that's not even a costume for us. That's basically our day-to-day lives. We just put on different names and wear what we would normally wear and act the way we would normally act. The fun part about a costume is you're going to be someone you aren't normally, right? You're going to behave in a different way. It's going to bring out a different facet of your personality you don't get to express.
Well, I suppose if I was going
Boris
to
and
that...
Natasha! That's a
That
great
would be
idea! Moose and squirrel.
The moose and squirrel. Ozzy and Sharon. I don't really know about Sharon very much. I would have to look her up, I guess, and kind of get some ideas.
Hades and Persephone.
Ooh.
How mythological. Lucy and Ricky.
Hey, Lucy.
I
Honey.
don't think I'd make a very good Lucy. We are not Jewish.
Meckle, heckle, hi, meckle, heiny, heiny, ho.
Favorite gemstone or crystal?
Kunzite. I like kunzite. I'm not wearing any today, though. Most of the time I'm wearing some kunzite.
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I like lots of different aspects of lots of different things.
Kunzite symbolizes love.
You were named after Natasha from Natasha and Boris.
Nice.
Hence why I'm changing to Raven. I see. Well, that makes sense, Raven. Raven is one of our tenants here on TikTok. So for those of you who wonder what it's like for when our tenants find us online, many of them are already followers before they become our tenants. Do we like renting to tenants or Airbnbs more?
They both have their pros and cons.
Both of them have ups and downs, yes. I wouldn't say we prefer one to the other. We like both in different ways. And we dislike both in different ways.
Do you understand quantum physics?
Obviously. What do you want to know about quantum physics? We want to talk about quarks and the little subatomic particles that make up of our protons and neutrons.
We would probably lose the rest of the audience.
Yeah, that may not be
or
the
a
most
portion of the
fascinating
audience.
thing.
Not to say that other people aren't into quantum physics, but if it's not your bag, if it's not your jam, I don't think they'd want to hang around for quantum physics.
Does my wife have a crystal collection? It would be a cool video to see. She does not have a crystal collection, no.
I have a few bracelets that have some semi-precious gemstones on them. I do have a little kunzite carved star.
Hello, San Antonio, Texas. My grandfather grew up in an orphanage in San Antonio.
Thank you.
All right, it is 7 o'clock, which means it's time we begin our story.
We are reading Varney the Vampire.
Hang on. I'm going to interrupt.
Already?
We got to 50,000 taps before this started, so we should go ahead and do the first illusion before we start.
Okay.
You think that's fair?
But we could still talk about... And it was written in the 1840s.
50 years older than Dracula. So I have here a deck of cards. What I'm going to do is very simple, but I'm the only person in the world that can do this. I'm going to take a card from this deck, flip it over backwards, and put it back in the deck. That in itself isn't that impressive. What makes it me the only person that can do this is I've practiced a lot. I'm going to do it using only my tongue. And you're going to pick the card. Hold on.
I'm waiting for a card. Somebody. A card. King of Hearts and Eight of Hearts? Oh, well, there's all of them. The Eight of Hearts? He's working it. He's just going to do one. Thank you, thank you. The Eight of Hearts. Your brother is a Vegas magician. How fun is that? I like this man too.
So, Eight of Hearts is from our TikTok audience.
Here he goes.
Do you see the Eight of Hearts in there anywhere? Sometimes they kind of stick together. See this one right here? See that? Isn't that cool? But we had one from our Book of Faces audience as well, which is the Four of Hearts.
That's what you were trying to tell me.
I was trying to tell you, but I had my mouth full at the time for some
Okay.
reason, dear. It's a little hard to communicate sometimes. If you found that to be amazing, just remember, ladies, when your guy says he can't find the bean, he's got no
Who
excuse.
would say they can't find it?
Yeah, well, when the guy can't find it, don't you hold him accountable. Make him practice more. If I can find cards, your guy can do better than that.
What guy would admit that they cannot find it, though?
Well, they need to admit it so they can learn to do better.
Just saying.
Admit your problems. Admit them. All right.
When we last left our lovely little story, when our lovely Baron, as we know him, is actually Varney.
Varney, for those of you joining us, is pretending to be the Baron, this wealthy individual.
Mm-hmm. They were touring the house and they found the body that Varney unalived.
Yep.
And then meanwhile, across the land, we have our wonderful Bannerworth family.
Hey, Matthew.
And Flora is going to get married to Charles. How sweet. And the somewhat meddlesome but good-natured uncle is trying to set up the wedding. And so that's where we find everyone now. Wedding preparations. Oh, how lovely.
So I'll be communicating with the one audience I can sign in on this phone, which will be our TikTok
Here,
audience.
I'll show you. You can do both. You're actually on the Book of Faces
wait,
at this
what?
moment.
Am I?
You are.
Oh.
But if you put your finger here and you
Okay.
go that way.
Oh. Will it work? Okay, so I can go back and forth between those two chats at least.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Okay, so I'm going to be able to chat while she's reading.
If he can figure out how to do the finger thing.
To possibly both our Book of Faces audience and our TikTok audience. I'll see if I can multitask while following the story, because I read all the parts for Varney.
And I was ill-prepared. I didn't know we were having all three, or I would have set up the third one as well.
Oh, well, you're just a genie. I love you. Okay, so I go that way. Good.
Alrighty. It was quite finally settled between the Admiral and the Bannerworths that he was to have the whole conducting of the marriage business, and he even succeeded in getting a concession from Flora Bannerworth that he might invite more than 20 guests, as had at first been stipulated. Indeed, she told him that he might ask for 40 if he pleased. The Admiral had asked for this enlargement of his powers because he had received from the lawyer such a satisfactory list of people who were eligible to be invited, that he found it extremely difficult to draw any individual distinction. And accordingly, he felt fully inclined, as far as he was concerned, to invite them all, which was a piece of liberality that he scarcely expected that Flora would accede to. When, however, he got leave to double the number, he considered that he was all right, and he said to Jack Pringle, to whom, as usual, he had got completely reconciled,
"I say, Jack, my boy, we'll have the whole ship's crew and no mistake, for at a wedding the more the merrier, you know."
"Aye, aye, sir," said Jack. "That's true. I haven't been married more than a dozen times myself, and the outside I've always took care to have lots of fun."
"A dozen times, Jack? You don't mean that."
"I rather think it does. You know, I was married at a different port in India twice, and then wasn't I married in Janky? And then after that, wasn't I married in the South Seas, in one of the Friendly Islands?"
"A deuced deal too friendly, I should say. Why, confound you, Jack, you must have the impudence of the very devil."
"Oh, yes, I believe you. I have. I look upon it that our impudence has got us in the world."
"How dare you say our, you vagabond? But, however, I won't quarrel with you now, at any rate, for I expect you to dance the hornpipe at my wedding. Or at the wedding. But mind me now, Jack, I'm serious. I won't have any drunkenness."
"All right, well, it's rather a hard thing that a fellow can't get tipsy at a wedding, but I suppose I must put up with that and do the best I can. And now, Admiral, as you have looked over that little affair of mine, I'm going to the lawyers, when you didn't want me,
I'll make you a voluntary promise, and that is that I'll only take 2 bottles all day long. 2 bottles of what? Oi, rum! Of course. Well, that's moderate. For as I have known you, I think take about 5, of course. I can't very well say anything to 2. So you may take that much, Jack, for I really think that you won't be much worse of it. The worse of it? I should think not, sir. It rather strikes me that 2 bottles of rum wouldn't hurt a newborn baby. It's just for all the world like milk, you know. It has no effect on me. And as far as I'm being fond of drink goes, I'd as soon take pump water if it had a different taste, and if it's a darn deal stronger. Well, well, Jack. That's a bargain, you know. So we needn't say nothing more about it. I suppose there'll be a fiddle and all that sort of thing. So don't doubt that there shall be lots of fun. Oi, then I'm your man. I'll show them a thing or two that'll make them open their eyes a bit, and if so, be as they wants anything the shape of a yarn, I'm the proper sort of individual to give it to them. I rather think, and no mistake, that I'll tell them how you ran away once with a female savage after you, with a long thing like a skewer, and that she called the spear, and now you called all that ship's crew to come and help you, as the very devil was at your heels.
Jack very prudently did not wait for an answer to this, for he was rather well aware that it was not the sort of thing that was exactly pleasing to the Admiral, who was just upon the point, of course, of getting into one of his rages.
Wait. He's a werewolf?
What?
So on the full moon he turns into a whale?
No.
Didn't you say he was a werewolf?
Let's see, where? Jack was very prudently did not wait for an answer to this, for he was rather well aware.
Oh, he was a well aware, not a werewolf. Sorry.
Did I say well?
I don't know, but I was just picturing somebody on the full moon like turning into this monstrous giant whale, and it made me hilarious.
Moby Dick. That's
Yes,
perhaps where
yeah,
Moby Dick came
maybe
from.
where Moby Dick
And
came
that's
from.
why Captain Ahab could never catch him. It was one of the crew.
Okay, sorry. I was lost there for a second. You may continue. Continue with the reading.
That would be a twist to the story.
Thank you for the
wouldn't it?
stars. Thank you so much.
That's a whole movie idea. Let's make a movie about Moby Dick, except Moby Dick is a werewolf,
Yeah.
and he's actually one of Captain Ahab's crew.
Crew members. Oh, that sounds like a great movie idea.
That's why he could never catch him.
He was Ahab himself. Who knows? Just to be clear, if you're seeing this on the Book of the Faces, when I'm commenting to you, it's through the Superb Wife account, which is this lady. So if you see me commenting there as Superb Wife, that's me talking to you. I'm also talking to the TikTok audience and everyone else. So
Yeah, that's my handle. Superb Wife is my handle on the INSTA and on the Book of Faces. I have a personal account on the Book of Faces too. However, I post local stuff there and everything, so I post just the good stuff that you guys want on the Superb Wife. I mean, unless you want to know that there's going to be a sale at the sale barn on Sunday.
Yeah, or the farmer's market is going to be an extra hour later than normal, or whatever she might be talking about. Yeah, so.
Whatever random thing I might be posting for local stuff. So, you want the Superb Wife one.
Whales have hair. Yeah, whales have.
They are indeed mammals,
They're mammals.
my friend.
They have hair.
In fact, they're one of the few species that shares menopause. I know that's weird and random, but other species, we don't have a good handle on them having menopause, but whales do. So the Admiral was getting into one of his rages, which would have produced another quarrel, only as a matter of course to end in another reconciliation. The old man, however, was too well pleased with the unlimited commission that he had to do as he pleased regarding the marriage affair to allow himself to be put much out of the way in the matter, and he bent all his mind and energies towards the completion of that piece of business which he had in hand, and which was certainly the most interesting to him that he had ever been permitted to engage in. Passing, as he did, almost the whole of his life upon the ocean, he had never married, and his affection for Charles Holland, who was the only relative he had in the world, was of that concentrated nature which is only to be found under such circumstances. Charles's mother had always had a large portion of the Admiral's regards, and when upon returning home once from a cruise of 3 years' duration, he found that she was unalived, and had left behind her orphan child, he at once avowed his intention of fulfilling the place of a parent to it, and that he had both, in the spirit and the letter, kept his word, we know that Charles Holland was always most ready to admit. Perhaps the severest shock he ever experienced was when that letter, purporting to be from Charles, but which was really the production of Marchdale and Varney, was produced, and which seemed at first blush to imply a dishonorable breakage of his contract with Flora, and, if anything could have increased his admiration of her, it certainly was the generous and noble manner in which she repudiated that attempt to injure Charles in her esteem, and at once declared her belief that the letter was a forged document. We may easily imagine, then, from these preceding circumstances, that the marriage of Charles with one whom he so entirely approved of was one of the most gratifying affairs in the old man's life, and that he viewed it with an extraordinary interest. As we have before stated, he got possession for a month of the house on which he had fixed his fancy, an extremely handsome and commodious place it was. It was arranged that after they had remained there for some time that they should all move off to Deerbrook together, and as it was only in early infancy that the Bannerworths had seen that estate, they proposed paying it a visit before the marriage ceremony took place. This was an idea of the old Admiral's, for he said truly enough,
"You can't possibly know what state it is in until you go there, and it may be necessary, for all we know, to do a great deal of it before it is fit for occupation."
Apart from this consideration, too, it seemed likely enough that somebody might be in it, for of late it had changed hands, and, for all they knew, the Bannerworth family might have to insinuate a suit of law for its recovery. You okay there, love?
Of course, dear.
The distance was sufficient to make it a whole day's journey, but it was a very pleasant one, for they went in a travelling carriage, replete with every accommodation, and the road passed through one of the most fertile and picturesque countries of England, being interspread with the hill and dale most charmingly, and reminding the younger branches of the Bannerworths of some of those delightful continental excursions which they once had the means of making, but which, for a long time, they had not had an opportunity of enjoying. It was towards the close of a day of great beauty for the season that they reached the village of Deerbrook, close to where the estate was situated, and put up at the principal inn, to which they were directed. The circumstances under which the Deerbrook property had been left for a long time had been such that there was likely to be some difficulty concerning it. In fact, it had been used by Marmaduke Bannerworth as a kind of security from time to time for his gambling debts, so it was probable that hardly anyone had had it long enough to trouble himself about the rentals. "If we find anyone," said Henry Bannerworth, "in possession, I shall not trouble them to pay anything for the use of the house that they have had, provided that they quietly give up the possession and leave the place in a decent state."
"Oh, well, that, of course, they will do," said Charles Holland, "and be too glad to escape arrears of rent. But it would be no bad thing to ask the landlord of this house what is the state of the property. No doubt he can not only let us know whether it be tenanted or not, but, if so, what sort of people they are who occupy it."
This suggestion was agreed to, and when the landlord was summoned and questioned, he put this. I have to stop and say something for a while.
Uh-oh. Say something. Go
Ooh,
ahead.
we gotta turn our heads. I have to say that the, 12 years since the passing of Marmaduke?
Right.
12 years that they haven't checked on this property.
Right.
Oof.
We've been to some properties that have been abandoned for that long. It is not pleasant.
Or you may have squatters.
There's all sorts of things you may find.
Now, I don't know about English law, but Americans a lot of America's property laws are based on English common law, and this must be previous to also where property could be seized and taken if it remains vacant too long.
Right. So let's say they went to this property and they found somebody had been living there. Then that person over that period of time would establish it as their house, and it would count legally as theirs. And that law does come from England, so I would imagine probably in the 1840s that was still relevant. Just splash some water on the book, it's fine.
I try.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. Do I have any lines in this?
Not this chapter.
Not this chapter. I'm going to go fetch some more water.
Oh, wonderful. I'll take another drink.
You want me to fill this one as well?
Probably wouldn't be a bad thing. The night is young.
What do you say when you want some?
Or is the night dark and full of terrors?
Ooh.
Please, sir, bring more water back.
All right. I shall fetch you some water.
All right, I will continue reading while he is away. So the landlord comes out.
Oh, I know the Deerbrook estate quite well. It's a very handsome little property, and is at present occupied by a Mr. Jeremiah Shepherd, a Quaker. A very worthy gentleman indeed, I believe. But I suppose that all Quakers are worthy people, because you see, sir, they wear broad-brimmed hats and no collars to their coats. An excellent reason, said the Admiral, but I had a friend who did know something about Quakers, and he used to say that they had got such reputations for honesty that they could afford to be rogues in the rest of their existence.
Well, well, said Henry, we can but call upon him. Do you think that this would be a reasonable hour?
Oh, yes, sir,
said the landlord.
He is sure to be at home at this hour, if you have any business to transact with Mr. Shepherd. He is a very respectable man, sir, and, as it is his own property that he lives upon, he is quite a gentleman, and never wears anything but drab breeches and gaiters.
Without waiting to enter into any further conversation with the landlord, who had such extraordinary reasons for his opinions, Henry and Charles and the Admiral, leaving the rest of the party at the inn, proceeded to Deerbrook Lodge, as it was called, and found as they approached it that it exceeded in appearance their warmest anticipations. It was a substantial red brick house of the Tudor style, and had that air of dignified and quiet repose about it, which a magnificent lawn of the greenest possible turf in front always gives to a country mansion. Oh, thank you, darling.
Of course, my dear.
He even put ice in it. How sweet is that?
One single solitary cube.
There is a new Dracula movie out. We'll see it eventually.
I'm back.
The grounds, too, seemed to be extensive, and to take it all in. All in all, the Bannerworth family had every reason to be well pleased with this first view that they got of their acquired property.
You will have some trouble, said the Admiral, with the Quaker. You may depend. They are a race that cry, hold fast, to anything in the shape of pounds, shillings, and pence, and are not very easily dealt with. Well,
the man will not be so absurd, uncle, said Charles.
It can be proved that the estate was in the Bannerworth family for many years, and your possession. Henry of the title deeds will set the question at rest. But see what a stately-looking servant is coming in answer to the ring which has just given to the bell.
A footman, most certainly having all the appearance of what so frequently advertised for as a serious manservant, advanced to the gate, and, in answer to the inquiry if Mr. Shepherd was within, he said, Yes, truly he is, but he liketh not to be disturbed, for he is at prayers, that is to say, at dinner, and is not accustomed to be disturbed thereat. I regret that we must disturb him, said Henry, for our business happens to be important, and we must positively see him. Upon this remonstrance, the servants unlocked the gate, and conducted them up a path by the side of the lawn, which led to the house. And the more they saw of it, the more pleased they were with the many natural beauties with which it abounded. And Henry whispered to Charles, "I am quite certain that Flora will be delighted with this place, for if I know anything of her taste, it will suit it agreeably and comfortably, and I do sincerely hope that we shall be able to get possession without the disagreeable necessity of a lawsuit." They were ushered into the handsome apartment, and then told that Mr. Shepherd would be with them very shortly, and they were not sorry to have a little leisure for studying the place before its reputed owner made his appearance. "I suppose," said Henry, "the best way will be at once to state that I am the owner of the place, and upon what condition I am willing to forego any claim that I might otherwise succeed in settling up for arrears of rental during the time that he has been here."
"Oh, yes," said Charles. "You cannot be too explicit. But hush, here he comes, and you will soon know what sort of an individual that you have to deal with in this matter."
At this moment the door opened, and Mr. Shepherd, the present Onstable possessor of the Deerbrook estate, and whose appearance spoke to the truth of the landlord's word, makes his appearance. But, as what he said was sufficiently important to deserve a new chapter, we shall oblige him with one.
That was wonderful. I guess it's break time.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's talking about being a rent bill for Halloween because it's the scariest thing they could think of. That seems, Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for the autumn leaves, Kelly.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Somebody was suggesting us to be Dracula, and I just really don't think that's that inventive of a costume. It's almost like our day-to-day lives.
And Dracula just came out in France.
Mm-hmm. How long has it taken to read this book? We've been working on this book probably for 6 months or so. But during our vampire story times, we've read Dracula, we've read Carmilla. We read Vampire City. That one was really cool. That one's another one that's about 25 years older than Dracula. And it's like if Quentin Tarantino wrote vampires. It's like from dusk till dawn kind of stuff. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, every time a vampire was poked with a stake, it would...
Yeah, they would all explode. How do we meet? She was dating my roommate. Yes, she was dating my roommate. They broke up, and she got into our friend group that way, and we got together not too long after that, a few months later. Who is Matt Riddle?
I'm not sure.
Somebody says I kind of look like Matt Riddle, or you kind of look like Matt Riddle. I guess that's a possibility. We don't just rent houses, we also rent Airbnbs, we read you bedtime stories, we do all sorts of things.
How are we doing on a bout of magic?
We're only at 75,000 taps.
Oh,
Until we get to 100,000
you guys
taps,
can do better.
I'm not doing any more magic.
We have to think of other ways to award everyone else.
Well, I'm glad you found us, Delaney. Thank you for finding us here.
Wonderful. It's a small world after all.
If you enjoyed Dracula, I think you would enjoy this story as well. I like this vampire in many ways more than I like Dracula. Dracula is a great read, though. And Vampire City, that's another one that was really fun. Hello, Australia. You're up early, aren't you?
Good morning. I don't know. It's probably not.
Excuse me.
I can't ask. We have every device we have working on this right now,
Yes.
so it's not like I can ask it.
And for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, if you're on the Facebook audience or the TikTok audience, I am communicating through my wife's account, so you may see Superb Wife if you're on one, or Jennifer if you're on the other, but that is actually me communicating while she reads. I read the parts for Varney, who hasn't had any lines yet tonight. So
And you shan't have any this chapter either.
2 chapters without hearing my lovely voice. I'm sorry, I don't know how you're going to make it.
Well, I get to hear you in between.
Oh, okay. Are you ready to begin?
I am.
Here she goes.
The Quaker was a man of about middle age, and was duly attired in the garb of the particular sect to which he belonged, a Quaker. You know, like the container of oatmeal?
Mm-hmm.
That gentleman on the cover of that?
Yes, so picture the hat.
Yeah.
And,
Just imagine that guy.
yeah. Very religious and devout.
Mm-hmm. There was about his countenance all that affection of calmness and abandonment of worldly thoughts and desires, which is mistaken by so many people for the reality of self-denial, when, really, those who know this sect well are perfectly aware that there is not a more money-loving, grasping people on the face of this earth. After gravely motioning his visitors to be seated, Mr. Shepherd cast his eyes up to the ceiling, as if he were muttering some prayer, and then he said,
Verily, may I ask to what I am to attribute this visit from individuals who in this veil of unblessedness are unknown to me?
Certainly, sir, said Henry. You are entitled, of course, at once to such an explanation of us. I have called upon you, because I am the proprietor of this estate, to know how it is that you became in possession of it, and under what pretense are you holding its possession? Mr. Shepherd slightly changed color, and staggered back a pace or two before he said,
This property is mine, but I naturally decline to produce my title to anybody who may ask for it. Thou mayest go now. Behind thee is the door.
Mr. Shepherd, said Henry, I am fully in a condition, as to the means and evidence both, to prove my title to the estate, and an action of injunctment will soon force you from it. But I am unwilling under any circumstances to do what I fully may do, if anything short of that will answer my purpose. If I therefore give you fair notice, that if upon my convincing you that I am the owner of this estate, you go out quietly within 14 days, I will make no inquiry as to how long you have been here, and will say nothing whatsoever upon the subject of rental owing to me on account of such occupation.
I defy thee, friend,
said the Quaker.
And if thou givest me any trouble, I shall put thee in chancery, for whence thou wilt not get out for the term of thy natural life. So I give thee due notice, and thou mayest please thyself in the transaction, and again I tell thee the door is exactly behind thee, out of which I beg to request that thou shouldest at once walk. I tell you at once, Mr. Quaker,
said the Admiral, who had with difficulty restrained himself thus far,
I look upon you as one of the greatest humbugs I ever came across, and that's saying a great deal, for in my time I have come across some thumpers, and if we don't make you smart for this confounded obscenity, you wolf in sheep's clothing, we will know the reason why. If it costs me £1,000, I will make you suffer for it.
Thou mayest be damned, friend, said the Quaker. Possession is a great number of points of the law, and, as I have it, I mean to keep it. And I have a friend who is in the law, and who will put thee as comfortably in chancery as with a little expense to me as possible. This is a very charming estate, and I have not the slightest intention of giving it up.
But you must, said Charles, give it up to the rightful owner. How can you be so foolish as to run yourself to legal expenses for nothing?
Teach thy grandmother, young man, to suck eggs, said the Quaker. I wish thee all remarkably good day.
Wait. 1840s.
Yes.
Teach your grandmother to suck eggs. That, to me, is from the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy song from Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, well, I hadn't heard of it.
Wow. Like, I assumed that was just something from, like, the 90s cartoon stuff.
Some things are much older than we
Yes.
give them credit for.
Yes, that's so much older than that.
They said teach your grandmother to suck eggs, really?
Yes. In the Happy, Happy, Joy,
How
Joy
delightful.
song. Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to, that was a huge epiphany, because that's a 180-year shift in Yeah, anyway.
I wish thee all remarkably a good day, and thou mayest all return from whence thou camest, and hang thyself if thou pleasest. For all I have care, and having made up my mind to live unalive on this very pleasant property, I shall have to put thee all into chancery. Why, you cantering thief,
said the Admiral.
thou mayest be unalived.
Said the Quaker.
In speaking to thee, I use the language which I am perfectly well aware thou wilt best understand. I say unto thee again, thou mayest be damned. Obadiah, show these sinners off the premises, and should they refuse to go, with the quickness that shall seem to be fitting and proper, thou mayest urge them on with the divers kicks on their hinder portions, and thou mayest likewise call to thy aid Towser, the large dog, to bite singularly great mouthfuls out of them.
The Quaker turned and was walking in a very stately manner out of the room, when the Admiral stepped forward and exhilarated his movements with such a kick that away he went as if he had been pew-pewed out of a gun. Oh, I said the wrong
There, friend, said the Admiral. Since you seem so fond of kicking, I think that is a very good beginning. It strikes me that you didn't know who you had to deal with. And now, Mr. Obadiah, it's your turn, and we will manage Towser when we get outside.
I thank thee all the same, friend, said Obadiah, but would rather be excused.
Perhaps you would like your nose pulled instead, then.
No, friend, it is quite long enough already, and I shall take myself off to the lower regions of these premises forthwith. So saying, Obadiah rushed from the room with great propensity, leaving most certainly the Admiral and his party masters of the field. And although both Henry and Charles both disapproved of the assault which the Admiral had committed, they could not interfere for laughing, and, as they left the house, which they did now of their own accord, Charles said,
Uncle, you may depend that you'll be pulled up to the quarter session. Darn the quarter session,
said the Admiral.
Do you think that I was going to sit still quietly, while the vagabond promised to kick me? But, as it is, it's all up with coming to Deerbrook to live for one while to come. For if he really is good as his word, and puts the matter into chancery, there's the end of it. I have heard it's like ducking in the head foremost into a hollow tree, and the wasps' nests at the bottom of it. You may kick, but I'll be darned if you can get out.
Well, said Henry, I believe that's rather apt illustration, but we must do the best that we can in such a case, and in the meantime seek out some other place to reside in. Your friend, the little lawyer in the town, shall have the case to conduct us, and perhaps, after all, we shall defeat the Quaker sooner than you imagine.
I long to see the day come,
said the Admiral,
when that fellow will have to troop out of the place, for in all my life I never did know such confounded impudence as he treated us with. Never mind, said Charles. The time must come, of course, when this pleasant estate, to which we have taken such a fancy, will be ours, and until then we shall have no difficulty whatsoever in finding some sweet verdant spot, full of exquisite and natural beauties, with which we can make a home, and easily caring nothing for being a short time only kept from possession of that which of right shall in a short time belong to us. And there is one thing that I am rejoicing at, which is that Flora has not seen this place, so as she cannot have any regrets about it, because she doesn't know, of course, how its existence farther than by name, and it can hold no place in her imagination which could make it a subject matter of regret.
Let's take a pause there because I owe some magic.
You owe some magic.
Yes, the TikTok audience has gotten the 50,000 taps required for me to do magic. Thank you for the stars.
Good job.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you for the stars. How lovely.
Okay, so everyone pay attention. I'm going to break some rules here with magic. This is very simple. I want you to try to figure out how this works. Magicians don't normally want you to do that, but I want you to understand that the green is attached to a string that connects to the yellow one. I want you to be able to see that it goes through a hole here. It comes out there if I flip it around. Green and yellow are connected. Very simple, right? And the red one and the green one are also connected. So see the string, imagine how this works. I want you to really figure it out. Yellow and green and the red and the green. Okay? Green and yellow. Also, the purple and the yellow are connected. You can see the purple and the yellow connect, and the green and the yellow connect. But also the yellow and the red one connects, which is still connected to the green one. So the yellow and the red, yellow and the red, yellow and green. And the green one is also connected to the purple one, which is still connected to the yellow one too. So the purple and the green are connected. But also we have the purple one, which is connected to the red one. So that's still connected to the green one, but the purple and the green is significant, and the red and the purple is significant, and the red and the green is significant. Now, so if some of you may have already kind of started to put this together and maybe imagining how it all works, but just in case, we're going to pull it apart so you can see that they're not connected at all. I hope you enjoy. That is for getting 100,000 hearts on TikTok. I love you guys.
Thank you.
That helps us so very much to be able to reach more people and do much better. I got a bravo. That's amazing. Thank you, Mary, for the heart.
That's wonderful. When they reached the inn, they informed Mrs. Bannerworth and Flora of the ill success of their enterprise and of the obscenity of the tenant of the house. And on that evening, they had a good laugh with each other about the little scene that had occurred between the Admiral and the Quaker, so that upon the whole, perhaps they were quite as happy, for people can but laugh and be merry, as if they had at once got possession of the Deerbrook estate without any trouble or difficulty whatsoever. They determined upon staying there for the night, although they might have got fresh horses and gone back if it had pleased them to do so. But there was much to tempt them in the romantic scenery around which they took a stroll, when it was lit up by a sweet moonlight, and everything came out in a silvery relief, looking so beautiful and serene, so pensively quiet, and so admirable, that it was calculated to draw the mind entirely from all thought of earthly matters, and to completely rid them of even a shadow of an annoyance connected with the Deerbrook property, which was so wrongfully detained from them. "It is at such a season as this," said Flora, "that contentment steals into the heart, and we really feel with how little we should be satisfied, provided it is sufficient to ensure those ordinary comforts of existence which we all look for."
"It is indeed," said Charles. "And you and I, Flora, would not repine if our lot had been much more humble than it is, provided Heaven had left us youth and love."
"Those indeed," said Henry, "are dear possessions."
"Well then," remarked the Admiral, "you have got youth on your side, and I once knew a worse looking fellow than even you are, so why don't you fall in love with somebody at once?"
Don't make so sure, Uncle," said Flora archly, "that he is not." The old Admiral laughed, for he liked Flora to call him uncle, and he said,
"You shall tell me all about it, Flora, some day when we are alone, but not now, while the chaps are listening to every word we utter."
"I will," said Flora. "It's a grand secret of Henry's, which I am determined to tell." "How very unkind of you, sister," said Henry, "to say the least of it." "Not at all. If you had trusted me, Henry, it would be quite another thing. But as I found it out from my own natural sagacity, I cannot see that I am bound in any way the slightest to bestow upon you any consolation on account of it, or to show you any mercy upon the subject."
"And she hopes," said Charles, that will be a lesson to you, to tell her upon another occasion everything whatever, without the slightest stint or hindrance."
"I cannot stand convicted," said Henry, "and my only consolation is that I don't mind a straw, the Admiral knowing all about it, and I meant to tell him myself as a matter of course."
"Did you?"
said the Admiral,
That's a very good attempt to get out of it, but won't answer exactly, Henry, with those who know better to say no more.
In such light and pleasant conversation they passed some time, until the chill night air, grateful and pleasant as it was to the senses, made them think it prudent to retire to the inn again. After they had partaken of the evening meal, and Flora and Mrs. Bannerworth had retired to rest, the gentlemen sat up, at the expressed desire of the Admiral, to talk over the affair upon which they were all in common so deeply interested. A general feeling of anxiety evidently pervaded all their minds to ascertain something of the whereabouts of the fate of Varney, who had so very mysteriously taken himself off at a time when they least of all expected he would have executed such a maneuver.
You all see, said the Admiral, that what is bred in the bone, as I told you, will never be out of the flesh, and this vampire fellow could not possibly be quiet, you see, for long, but he must be at his old tricks. I do not know, said Charles Holland, but I am rather inclined to think that he has somehow become aware that he has become rather a trouble to us, and so his pride, of which I think we have had evidence enough of, is that a large share of it took the alarm, and he went off as quick as he could.
It may be so, said Henry, and of course, in the absence of anything to the contrary, I feel inclined to give even Varney the Vampire credit for as much purity of motive as I can.
Well, that is all very well in its way, said the Admiral, but you must acknowledge that he did not leave in the most polite manner in the world, and then I, for one, cannot exactly approve of his jumping upon Dr. Chillingsworth's back, from off a garden wall, as a cat would upon a mouse. Oh, do be liberal, uncle, said Charles, and recollect that we are not quite sure if it was Varney, for the doctor declined to be positive upon the subject, and he ought to know. Ha! Stuff, said the Admiral. The doctor knows well enough, but he is like a man that threatened to kick the other for laughing at his wife. He said that he was sure that he had done it, but if he had been darned sure, he would have kicked him into the middle of next week. Certainly. The doctor seems quite clearly of the opinion that whoever committed the assault upon him did so with a full knowledge of the worth of the picture, which he believes contained within its extra lining banknotes to a large amounts.
And which, said Henry, after all, is but a supposition, and Varney, after such an attempt to possess himself of such a treasure, if it was he that made it, may be actually now a houseless wanderer. But I consider that such has been the notoriety of his proceedings, that if he now attempts any vampire tricks, he very soon will be discovered, and we shall hear of him.
From his own account, said Charles, he has not been the most scrupulous person in the world with regard to the means by which he has from time to time recruited and exhausted equher.
That's one of those words that shows up every once in a while from, 200
Wow.
years ago that I don't know what it means.
How in the world would you even begin to pronounce that? EXCHEQUER.
Someone look up that word, please.
Exchequer?
Exchequer?
Exchequer? I have no idea.
I'll spell it one more time for you. EXCHEQUER.
This is from the 1840s, so there's a lot of usage of words and things that are out of use now.
So I apologize for my mispronunciation. Woo! And we can easily imagine that this vampire business of his would so terrify the paralyzed people that he would have little difficulty in robbing a house under such circumstances.
You may depend, added Charles, that he had done one of these two things. He has either commenced a much more reckless career than ever he has yet attempted, or that he has gone away completely into obscurity and will never be heard of again. I sincerely myself hope that the latter is the case, for it will be better for him, and better for everybody connected with him.
It is a noun, a royal or national treasury.
Huh.
suppose we wouldn't use that in America since we don't have any royal or national treasury, right?
Wouldn't Fort Knox be a national treasury?
If we had that, then why would we have all the debt?
Yes, because debt is what we are definitely in.
Yes.
What is it? Every United States citizen, man, woman, and child, and in between, owes something like $200,000 because
Right,
of
at
the
the
debt
point
of
of
our
war.
country is so much in debt.
Someone says it's pronounced exchequer. So,
Exchequer.
exchequer.
Why, thank you.
I appreciate that very much. You all are very helpful.
Unalive, the fellow,
Said the Admiral.
It should not like him to starve, although he has given us so much trouble. And I hope that if anything very queer happens to him, that he will not scruple to let us know.
I don't know if I could have used that word.
You already used the word.
Huh?
No regrets.
And he shall not positively want. But come, is it to be another tumbler apiece, or to bed?
Bed was vetoed, for such they knew was the Admiral's wish, or he never would have mentioned the alternative. And in the course of another half an hour the whole of these persons, in whose fate we profess to have so profound an interest, were wrapped in repose. We will now turn to a consideration of what this singular and mysterious Baron Stolemeyer of Salzburg was about, for that he has some ulterior objects in view, which by no means at present show themselves, we cannot doubt, and likewise there can be no question but that very shortly some of his views and projects will develop themselves. And that is the end of that chapter.
You've done so very well. Oh, I don't need to close that.
A break for me.
Yes, she's going to have a break. There we go. And
We're
we'll
doing
stay connected.
We're doing so well
We're
on
doing
time.
very well. Do I have lines? Oh, I have lines in the next one. So I read the parts for Varney, our vampire, who is currently disguised as the Count. Or the Baron, yes, the Baron. So
Perhaps that is why Mr. Stoker chose Count for Mr. Dracula.
Yes, because he wanted him to. There's definitely a lot of influence. You can see this was 50 years before Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, and you can see a tremendous amount of influence. Like this starts with Varney trying to buy a property, and the people not wanting him to buy the property. And Dracula starts with a real estate transaction. Like there's a whole lot of carryover between these two stories. But I really enjoy Varney. I think he's a class act, and for the most part has been relatively respectful and non-violent in given the opportunity. He's tried to seek out ways that everybody could benefit from the situation as much as he can. Obviously, he's made some violent mistakes in his past, but
We read every Wednesday night.
every Wednesday night you can join us. After we finish Varney, somebody was asking, we may do Dracula again, we may pick out another vampire story, but we like to read classic vampire novels on Wednesday nights.
Every other Monday on my channel, on the TT, I do read.
Did the inspector retaliate? Not yet, and I can tell you, the inspectors less and less will even answer the phone when I call. Like, generally speaking, they will not answer the phone when I call anymore, which is great. I don't want them bugging me, so if they want to leave me alone, that's cool. That's my goal. I want them to leave me alone. Thank you. I bet y'all would be the best landlords ever. I watch all of y'all's videos, and your wife seems so peaceful and joyful in all of our videos. Well, she has to be peaceful and joyful, otherwise I'll spank her. Isn't that right, dear?
You silly goose. You spanks me anyway. Because I asked for it.
She's so good. Make sure to follow if you haven't followed. Let's see, we're 30,000 taps away from the next illusion. So those of you on my TikTok audience, there's 275 of you here right now. If you tap, 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 we'll be ready for a magic trick in no time.
Keep talking.
You could be Bateman, like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. I don't really see the resemblance. I should come buy houses in the UK. Landlords are a toss here. I can tell you there's a lot of difficult landlords in a lot of places. And some of that depends on your market. If the market is such that it's very hard to make a living as a landlord, they're going to have to be very tight with letting you have leniency on rent and other things. Oh, he said Batman. That's totally different than Bateman. That's yeah. Sorry, I got confused. I was thinking about the more significant rich guy that has a whole alter ego that he goes out at night and does things. I was thinking of Bateman. Sorry.
Don't read that book. It's terrible.
It is a terrible book. It makes a much better movie. Thank you, Justin. I'm glad you enjoy the reading.
Ace Ventura is wonderful. He was Ace Ventura when you're all ready.
I'd actually be a good Joker in a Bateman movie. I don't remember the Joker being in the Bateman movie, but I could see the Joker and Patrick Bateman getting along pretty well. Beetlejuice. I've already done that one once.
Mm-hmm.
I've already done that.
He has the suit.
Yeah, I've got the suit right there. I can look at it from where I'm sitting. Have you all heard of the Vampire's Rave? Maybe.
There's the Vampire's Picnic.
Yep.
I'm more of a picnic kind of girl.
When literary connoisseurs tell us not to read something, we shall listen. Will we? I kind of do the opposite when people tell me not to read something. A lot of times I'm like, I wonder why. Yeah. No.
Trust me, it's a much better movie.
Yeah,
That's
I would
what
say.
I don't say that very often.
Yeah, that book. I think the purpose of the book in reading it was to make it to where you didn't want to finish reading it. I think that's the like the author, I think on purpose, was trying to make you disgusted with the book and the characters so much that you would want to put it down. And I think that was kind of the point.
Can you see the highlighting pretty good from where you are?
I believe so.
Okay.
All right, boys and girls, for those of you who've never been a part of this, I'll be reading the parts of our vampire, and she'll be reading everything else.
It was a wonderful relief to Mr. Leake to find that the fact of an unalived body having been found in the subterranean passages of the Anderbury house was really no bar to the Baron possessing himself of the premises. Mr. Leake could not disguise from himself that, to many persons, it would have been a serious impediment, and the very mystery in which that affair was still wrapped up would have made the impediment greater, because people don't so much think of an unaliving, which is all found out, and for which the perpetrator suffers. But an unalived body found, and yet no unaliver, keeps public curiosity upon the stretch, and is almost certain destruction for a house to property. But now, whether the Baron bought Anderbury House or rented it, was much the same to Mr. Leake, for in the former case he got his percentage all at once, and in the latter, acting as agent, he got more, but he got it by degrees. He waited, therefore, with some degree of feverish impatience to know which way that illustrious individual would make up his mind, and when he said at length that in his strange, calm way, that he would give £10,000 for Anderbury on the Mount, Mr. Leake wrote off in violent haste to the owner, advising him to accept the same without delay, and, as the owner never intended again to set foot in Anderbury House, and moreover wanted money, he wrote back again, in as violent a haste, that he would take £10,000 most certainly, and wished the transaction concluded as quickly as it very well could be, promising Mr. Leake, which was a very gratifying thing to do to a gentleman, not on account of the money, as he himself said.
Oh dear no, but as a matter of feeling, a handsome bonus in addition to his percentage, if he quickly gets the matter completed.
Armed with this authority, the agent showed an amount of generalship which must, if he has been placed in the situation of field marshal to the Duke of Wellington, have won for him all the continental battles. He went at once to the Baron, and told him that he had received a letter from the owner of Anderbury on the Mount, asking £10,500 for the estate, but leaving it at his, Mr. Leake's, option to take £10,000 if he chose.
Now, my Lord Baron, said Mr. Leake, business is business, and I may as well put £250 in my pocket, and your lordship £250 in yours, as not.
That is to say that you are willing to sell your employer's interest to me?
Oh, why, it isn't exactly that. You know, my lord, only, you know, in these transactions everybody does the best he can for himself, and I am sure that I should be very sorry if you thought that...
Mr. Leek, you need have no delicacy with me. I believe you to be as great a rogue as ever stepped, so you need to make no excuses, only of course you cannot expect me to assist you in your villainy. That is quite out of the question, so you will understand I decline giving you more than £10,000 for Annerbury House, and if that is not accepted, in 1 hour from this time I will not have it at all.
It is accepted now at once.
groaned Mr. Leek, who found that the Baron was too many for him.
It's accepted at once, my lord, and I beg that you will bury the past in what do you call it, oblivion.
Very good. I presume if I give you a cheque for £1,000 as a deposit, I may have possession at once while the deeds are preparing.
Certainly, my lord Baron, oh, certainly.
The Baron gave Mr. Leek, and then took his acknowledgment for the same, a cheque for £1,000 on one of the most eminent banking houses in London, and in 2 hours from that time, such was the celerity and precision of his movements, he took possession of Annerbury House, and engaged the man and woman who had been minding it to be his temporary servants, until he could get up an establishment suitable to his rank and the place he inhabited. It would have been a strange sight to Mr. Leek, and would have made him open his eyes a little with wonder, if he could have seen the Baron traversing the apartments of the Annerbury House alone.
And am I at last settled?
He said to himself, as he stood in a large saloon.
Am I at last settled in a home such as I can really call my own? And shall I not be haunted from it by my enemies? Let me consider. I will be quick in giving such an entertainment here that it shall be talked for many a day to come. It shall be such an entertainment as shall present to me all of youth, beauty, and rank and wealth that can be found in the neighborhood, and out of them I will choose someone who shall be the Baroness, and for a time pace the stately halls as their mistress. For a time, yes, I have said for a time. I wonder if there be a family vault to this property, because if there be, I may want to use it.
In this purchase of Annerbury on the Mount, the ancient furniture of the place had been all included, so that in truth the Baron had but to walk in, and to find himself, if he could make himself so, quite a home. A costly bedchamber was prepared for him, the bed linen and furniture of which was sent by Mr. Leek from his own house, and no doubt he fully intended to be well paid the same. The Baron, after about 2 hours spent in the examination of the house, sat down in one of the principal apartments and partook of a very light repast, and, after that, folding his arms up upon his bosom, he seemed to give himself up to thought entirely, and, from the smile that occasionally showed itself on his remarkable physiognomy, it would seem that those thoughts of his were of a pleasant and felicitous nature. Now and then, too, from a few and unsettled words that fell from his lips, it would seem as if he were greatly felicitating himself upon something which he had achieved, that was of a character to give him intense satisfaction.
He's scheming of happiness. Isn't that nice?
Perhaps it was the inner life of this singular man who called upon him that gave him so much pleasure, and we are inclined to think that was the case, for, after the commission of an unaliver such as that, one of the two feelings were pretty sure to possess him. Remorse might take possession of him, and he might suffer much mental anguish in consequence of the deed, or the object which he achieved by that unaliving might be of such a nature as to become quite a subject of congratulation, so as whenever he thought upon it, to give him the pleasantest and most delightful feelings. It looked very much as if this was the case as regarded the Baron, because it was clear and evident as the sun at noon that he had felt no degree of remorse or regret for that deed, and that as regards his conscience, certainly the unaliving that he had committed sat as easy upon it as anything well could. The evening was now drawing on, and the large apartments of the ancient house began to be enveloped in gloom. But unlike the generality of persons who have committed crimes, and whose consciousness are charged with injustice, the gathering gloom of the night seemed to have no terror whatsoever for the Baron Stolmeyer. But at length, with something of a sense of weariness, he rose and rang for attendance, desiring to be shown to the bedchamber which had been prepared for his reception, not repose. It was a strange thing, but it seemed to be customary with him not to undress when he retired to rest, but as he had done at the hotel, he only took off a portion of his apparel, and then cast himself upon the bed, and in a few moments it seemed as if a deep repose crept over him. We say seemed, but in reality it was a disturbed and anxious sleep, which the Baron had and soon began to toss his head and arms to and fro restlessly, and to utter deep groans, indicative of mental anguish. Occasionally, likewise, a muttered word or two, scarcely articulated, pronounced, would come from his lips, such as, "Oh dear.
Save me, save me. Not yet, not yet, my doom. No, 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 no. The moonlight, the moonlight. Unalive him, strike him down."
This state of mind continued for a considerable time, until with a shrill cry he sprung to his feet, and stood in an attitude of horror, trembling in every limb, and exhibiting a most horrible and frightful picture of mental distress. Then there came a loud knocking at his chamber door, and the voice of a man, Davis, who had been alarmed at the strange shriek that had come from the Baron's lips, fell upon his ears. The sound of any human voice, at such a time, was like music to him.
"Are you ill, sir? Are you ill?"
No, no, it was nothing but a dream, only a dream. And then but it was a dream of absolute horror that I shall dread to close my eyes and rest again, lest once more so fearful a vision could greet me. It was a dream of such frightful significance that it will live in my remembrance like a reality and be dreamed of again as such.
He sat down and wiped the cold perspiration from his brow. Then rising, he walked with unsteady steps towards the window, and throwing aside the massive curtain which shut out the night without, by making a still deeper night within, a flood of beautiful and tender moonlight fell into the apartment. As the cold rays fell upon his face, he breathed more freely, and seemed more to revive beneath their influence. Then he had suddenly found the bright sunshine beaming upon him in all the refulgence of its midday glory. We have a picture. You want to hold it up there?
Yes. So you can see Varney dreaming. See how terrified he is. This is an original woodblock print, so this is the same artwork that would have been seen with this when it was originally published in the 1840s.
There you go.
I am better now. I am much better now. What a fearful vision that was. Came across my heated fancy. Welcome, welcome, beautiful moonbeams. Welcome for deep in my heart. I feel your cheering influence on me now. Remember, the moonbeams are what heal vampires in this world.
The violent trembling which had seized him passed away, and once more he resumed his wonted composure and calm hideousness of expression, if we may be allowed the word. Now, for some time he sat in silence, and then in a low, deep tone he spoke.
It was a strange dream. a dream made up of strange fancies, strange impulses. I thought that I stood in a vaulted chamber, and that all around me depicted nothing but gloom and desolation. But as I there stood, the chamber filled with hideous forms, coming from where I know not, but still crowding in until the shadow of the merest shade could not have found a place. And so they crushed me into the smallest possible space, and there I stood with 100 grinning faces closed around me, and in such a mad paroxysm of terror that I would not have given the world for escape but from that dreadful thraldom. But they gibed at me, filling my ears with shrieking noises, and then at once there was a proposition yelled out with shrieking vehemence by every voice. It was to place me in the tombs, even as I was a living man.
"Heap mountains of earth upon him," cried a voice. "Endow him with the gift of immortality, and then let him lie buried for 1,000 years yet to come."
They seized upon me, those gaunt and terrific forms, and deep into the bowels of the earth I was buried, a depth beyond all calculation, and when I thought my fate was sealed, the change came over me, and I found myself in one of the ice wells of the mansion, cold and unalive, like when a crowd of eager, curious faces loomed by the light of torches gazed down upon me. But no one spoke, and they began to cast large fragments of the rocky cliff upon me. I called for aid and for the unalive, but still they proceeded to fill up the pit, while I lay incapable of anything but agonize the thought at the bottom of it. Then it was, I presume, that in my despair I shook off all that fearful slumber and awakened.
He was silent, and seemed again much to rejoice in the moonbeams as they fell upon his face. And after a time, in order it would appear that he might feel more of their influence, he opened the window and stepped out upon the balcony, which was immediately in front of it. The view that he now had was a beautiful one in the extreme, spreading far over. In one direction, a beautiful tract of highly cultivated country, and on the other, as far as the eye could reach, upon the boundless ocean, on which the moonbeams fell with such beauty and power that, still and placid as the waters were on this particular night, the sea looked like a sheet of radiant silver broken into gentle irregularities. It was a scene upon which a poet or a painter, oh, but painters should all be poets, although poets may not all be painters, might gaze with rapture and delight. Not the slightest breath of air stirred the gentlest leaf upon the forest tree, but such a calmness and such a serenity reigned over all things, that one might imagine oneself looking upon some new and beautiful world, in the harmony of which had never yet been disturbed by the jarring sounds of eternal strife. Strange thoughts and feelings seemed to come over the Baron, and then, as he looked upon the mild and placid scene without, and after a time he spoke, saying,
And what do I struggle for now? What is it now but mere existence that is the end aim of all these anxious thoughts and feelings? Nothing more but the mere liberty to breathe and to be anxious, the capacity to endure pain. That is what I live for, nothing else in the whole wide world. When and how can I expect that calm contentment of the soul which man takes such pains to cast from him, but which I know the full value can ever be mine?
Once more he cast his eyes around him upon the great extent of the cultivated country, and although he felt he could call the most of it that lay immediately beneath his observation his own, it yet gave him but little gratification to do so, and probably he looked with about as much indifference upon his own possessions as anyone possibly could.
This is a new career. Something tells me that it is my last. So while it continues, I will not shrink from it, but on the contrary, enjoy it, and I will endeavor to lose the recollection of those stormy periods of my existence, which have passed away in complete round and whirl of what the world calls enjoyments and delights. I will spend large sums on brilliant entertainments, and this house, which they will tell me has been so long deserted by everything in every shape, uh,
Festivity?
in the shape of festivity and hilarity, shall once again ring with joyous laughter, and I will make an endeavor to forget what I am.
He evidently dreaded again to lie down to repose, for after some time further spent in the thought, and in the expression of feelings that lay uppermost in his mind, he put on again that portion of his apparel which he had taken off.
In this soft and pleasant moonlight, which is so grateful to my senses, I will walk in the gardens of this mansion, and should a sense of weariness oppress me, I shall be able to find, no doubt, some pleasant spot where I can lie down to rest, and I shall not fear horrifying or anxious dreams when I can repose beneath the beams of the moon, which cool my fevered brow.
With a slow and stately step, he moved across the long and beautiful corridor from which his chamber opened, and then descending in the grand staircase, and in that house a grand staircase it really was, he made his way across the hall, and undoing the fastening of a window which opened into a large and handsome conservatory, he passed through that again, and soon found himself in the extensive gardens of the Anderbury. Certainly, if there had been any sight more chaste and beautiful than another, it is a highly cultivated and well-wooded garden by moonlight, and we cannot but admire the taste of the Baron Stolmeyer in preferring it even to the stately bedchamber that he had so recently left, and with notwithstanding all the advantages and beauties that art could bestow upon it, could never hope to rival or even come near to the natural beauties of that highly cultivated piece of ground. And there are some flowers, too, that give out their sweetest odors to the night air, and some again that unfold their choicest beauties only when the sun has set, and the cold moonbeams can but look down upon them. When he got fairly into the garden, he found that there was a light, gentle breeze playing among the shorter shrubs and flowers, but that it reached not high enough to stir the leaves of the trees. But it is extremely doubtful if, completely taken up as this man was, no doubt with worldly pursuits, he did not, after the first few moments, completely forget the world of natural beauties by which he was surrounded. Folding his arms, he walked along the stately avenues with a solemn tread, and then, soon banishing from his mind those feelings of melancholy sadness which had oppressed him, he began evidently to indulge in dreams of felicity, which, by the manner in which he spoke of them, were evidently but dreams.
What can I desire or want more than I have? Immense wealth, consequently immense power, golden opinions, may always be purchased with gold, and what is there really to hinder me from pursuing to the full career which I have marked out to myself? Surely I can surround myself with all that is young, beautiful, delightful. Can I not make these halls echo with such laughter that surely it must awake even in my breast joyous emotions? Then, there in the wine cup, why should not that flow with rich abundance, gladdening the hearts of all, and adding even to the genius for a time a new fire and a more delightful expression of its thoughts and feelings? And music too, surely I can have abundance of music to shed witchery of its charms about me, and with these inducements and allurements I must and I will succeed in banishing reflection if I achieve no more.
As he now stood and turned his eyes towards the east, he fancied that he saw that the morning light was beginning to faintly show itself in the far-off horizon.
Another day is coming, and how very much might be done in a day. I will, with the assistance of that man Leek, who I can readily perceive is quite willing to bow down to any idol provided that it be made of gold, to commence the career of festivities that I have set my heart upon, and we shall soon see how striking of an alteration will take place in the halls of Canterbury.
He entered a small summer house which was built in the garden, and through the stained glass of which the moon shone with a variegated light, and there he sat down, and, after a time, tasted of that repose which upon the bed of down that he had left, and surrounded by all the costly litter of his handsome bedchamber, he had courted in vain.
Ah, that is such a delightful story. So, our
Well,
poor...
I'm saying that him talking about wanting to be surrounded by the laughter and have, all the things happening, that he's really hungering for companionship and enjoyment of real people around him.
He's been lonely for a very long time. And
But then he reminded me of a friend of ours who likes to cause mischief and then watch.
yes, give them lots of wine and then see what happens. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another Wednesday evening when we read from Varney the Vampire and continued on this glorious story. This has been really enjoyable. I love how calm Varney is in most instances. And even when he does have something that stirs him up, he tries to seek out a calm and collected response. And I think that this is one of the first characters I can remember in fiction that really tries to do that a lot. And tends to choose the nonviolent path for the most part on most of the situations he's been in. It's also interesting to have the vampire be really the hero of the story to some degree. We're following his path more so than the path of the others. So this isn't the fight against the vampire, but the vampire's fight against the world that wouldn't accept him.
Maybe to some degree, yes.
Yes, I think it's been delightful. Thank you all for joining me. We will see you next Wednesday, but I'm sure we'll see some of you before then if you join us on some of our other lives when we're doing more traditional things, like working on houses